Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to prop it up? Meet the Pop Sockets phone grip with expanding kickstand in black, your new must-have accessory. Don't miss out. Grab yours today. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Welcome to StarScene Scoop, your source for the latest and most shocking true crime stories. I'm your host, Name, and today we're diving into a case that's left many people stunned and wanting answers. You might have heard of Daphne-Abdela and Christopher-Vasquez, but do you know what they did? Let me tell you, it's a story of murder, mayhem, and one of the most brutal killings in New York City history. Daphne-Abdela and her boyfriend, Christopher-Vasquez, were just teenagers when they committed this heinous crime. They met in 1997, bonding over their love of rollerblading, but what started as a seemingly innocent friendship turned into a deadly obsession. In May of that year, the couple lured Michael McMorrow, a 44-year-old real estate agent, to his death in Central Park. The details are still unclear, but it's known that Abdela and Vasquez attacked McMorrow multiple times, slashing him over 30 times and gutting his body before dumping it in the lake. This case was one of the most brutal killings in New York City history, with McDormand describing McMorrow's body as floating about 100 yards from the tile terrace that surrounds Bethesda Fountain. It's a gruesome image that's still haunting many people today. But what's even more shocking is how Abdela and Vasquez evaded justice for so long. Abdela was only 15 at the time of the murder, but she had already been kicked out of school multiple times due to her belligerent attitude. Meanwhile, Vasquez came from a less affluent background, raising him as a single mother in East Harlem. But despite their troubled pasts, Abdela and Vasquez seemed like an unlikely duo until they started rollerblading together in Central Park. Fast forward to 1997, when Abdela had interacted with McMorrow at Central Park just 2 weeks before the killing. She even traded him a beer for cigarette rolling papers, but that's when things took a dark turn. The couple went on to drink and socialize with McMorrow, eventually luring him away from his friends in Central Park. In the early hours of May 23rd, McMorrow was found dead, and an investigation quickly began. Abdela and Vasquez were arrested soon after and pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder and robbery charges. But as detectives dug deeper, they discovered bloody clothing in Abdela's bedroom, a wallet that belonged to McMorrow, and a knife with DNA from both Abdela and McMorrow. It wasn't long before the teens were indicted on charges of second-degree murder, and their trial was set to begin. However, without Abdela's testimony, it seemed like justice might not have been served. That is, until detectives Robert Mooney and his team re-interviewed her multiple times, and eventually, she cracked under pressure. In March 1998, Abdela agreed to a plea deal, pleading guilty to manslaughter in the first degree. She was sentenced to 39 months to 10 years in prison, avoiding what could have been a life sentence. But even that wasn't enough for McMorrow's family and friends, who felt like justice hadn't been fully served. Christopher-Vasquez, on the other hand, went through an alcohol abuse program behind bars and received his high school diploma while serving time. He was eventually released in 2007, but he too struggled with his past, refusing to speak about the case or face the public eye. So what happened next? Well, Abdela was denied parole twice before finally being granted it, only to be revoked when she assaulted one of her fellow inmates at a halfway house. She spent the rest of her sentence in prison and has been released since 2007, but her freedom didn't last long. Fast forward to today, and it's clear that neither Abdela nor Vasquez have escaped their dark past entirely. In fact, Abdela was recently spotted leaving an apology note and a bouquet of flowers at the park where McMorrow was killed. It's a haunting reminder that even years after the crime, justice can still be served. That's all for today's episode of StarScene Scoop. We'll keep following Daphne-Abdela and Christopher-Vasquez's story as it unfolds. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more true crime content and updates on this shocking case.